OpenAI launched a drag-and-drop system for building AI agents. 8 months later, it gave the product an end date. The change does not mean OpenAI is walking away from agents. It means the company is closing one visual path for building them, while directing teams toward two different models. One is software-defined and built with code. The other is operated through natural language instructions inside ChatGPT. For anyone who treated a visual builder as the permanent home of a production workflow, the important question is no longer whether agents matter. The question is where that workflow should live before the cutoff arrives. The story began in October 2025 with Agent Kit. OpenAI presented it as a collection of tools for building, deploying, and improving agents. Agent Builder was the most visible part of that promise. It offered a canvas where teams could arrange nodes, connect steps, start from templates, preview runs, create versions, and evaluate behavior. The appeal was straightforward. Instead of writing every layer of orchestration as software, a builder could see the workflow as a diagram. That lowered the friction between an idea and a working prototype. It also suggested a path from experimentation toward production inside one platform-owned interface. Then came the update dated June 3, 2026. OpenAI said it is winding down the Agent Builder and Evals products. The deadline is specific. From November 30, 2026 onward, those products will no longer be available on the OpenAI platform. 3 dates now define the entire arc. October 2025 marked the launch. June 3, 2026 marked the change in direction. November 30, 2026 marks the cutoff. Teams with active workflows therefore have a migration window, not an open-ended suggestion. The visual canvas and the linked evaluation product need a replacement plan before that final date. The scope matters because the headline can easily become misleading. OpenAI is not ending AI agents as a category. It is not ending the Agents SDK. It is not shutting down ChatGPT. The stated change applies specifically to Agent Builder and Evals. The shutdown is not the end of OpenAI agents. It is the end of one way of building them. OpenAI points users toward two continuing lanes. Workflows that should remain software are directed to the Agents SDK. Workflows better suited to natural language operation are directed toward Workspace Agents in ChatGPT. That distinction is the center of the strategy change. The first lane is code first. OpenAI's Agents SDK is the path for developers who need software-defined agents and orchestration. Code creates a different kind of durability. Logic can live in source control. Changes can be reviewed. Tests can run before deployment. Dependencies can be documented. Integrations can be adapted to the systems around them. None of this makes code effortless, and a visual canvas can still be faster for early exploration. But when an agent workflow becomes part of a real operation, explicit software can make ownership, version history, deployment, and recovery easier to control. The second lane is prompt first. OpenAI describes Workspace Agents as agents created and operated in ChatGPT through natural language instructions. They are positioned for repeatable work inside an organization, with access shaped by the knowledge and tools configured for that workspace. This is not simply the old canvas moved to a different screen. The interaction model changes. Instead of drawing a chain of nodes, a team describes what the agent should do, gives it governed access, and operates it within the workspace. That path fits work where natural language direction is more useful than maintaining an application as code. Together, the two lanes reveal the practical decision teams now face. A workflow should not be classified by how quickly it was first built. It should be classified by how it must operate. If it needs detailed control, software tests, custom integrations, and a deployment process, it belongs in the code-first lane. If it is repeatable organizational work driven through instructions and governed workspace access, it may belong in the prompt-first lane. Some systems will contain both. A code-based service can handle strict orchestration while a workspace agent manages a human-facing layer. The important move is to choose deliberately instead of copying the old visual flow into the nearest replacement. The wider lesson is about platform-owned abstractions. Visual builders are useful because they compress complexity. A node can hide many technical decisions. A template can turn a blank screen into a working prototype. But the same abstraction that makes a system easy to start can make it harder to move. Production workflows need an export path, documented dependencies, named owners, and a fallback procedure. They also need evaluation criteria that survive beyond one product surface. The goal is not to reject visual tools. The goal is to avoid confusing a convenient interface with the durable foundation of the operation. The migration work begins with an inventory. List every Agent Builder workflow and identify what it touches. Record its data sources, tools, permissions, evaluations, owners, and failure procedures. Then classify each workflow as code-first or prompt-first. Rebuild code-first systems with the Agents SDK. Assess prompt-first organizational work for Workspace Agents. Preserve the criteria used to judge successful behavior outside the retiring Evals product. Test the replacement against the current workflow before the cutoff. Document who owns the new version, how it is monitored, and what happens when it fails. The final date creates urgency, but it should not create panic. OpenAI has described where the two replacement paths lead. Teams still have time to inspect what they built, separate prototypes from critical systems, and move the important logic into a form they can maintain. The conclusion is not that OpenAI lost interest in agents. The conclusion is that the interface for building them is splitting into two clearer lanes. Software development on one side. Natural language workspace operation on the other. Agent Builder made workflows easier to draw. The next phase is about deciding where those workflows can endure.